Hey paper crafters, thank you so much for joining me today. I love that you took the time to pop by my channel, check out the video that I've got going, and hopefully stay and poke around a little bit. I'm really excited to be able to offer some videos now and then and share my love of paper crafting. So I hope you find something that you enjoy and come back to see me another time. Bye-bye. Hey paper crafting friends, thanks for tuning in today. And I appreciate you joining us for the May 2021 Kiwi Club collaboration series. So we are going to be using the Summer Lovin' kit this month, and I'll show you the palette that I've got. And as we're getting started, I just want to remind you that this collaboration is several different folks that are Kiwi Lane creative partners. They also are passionate about Kiwi Club and about creating YouTube videos for you to check out. So take a minute and go through the description portion of my video. Make sure you visit each of the videos on the series and take a second to comment something that you liked, something that you learned, something that you loved. And every comment is an opportunity to win your choice of a Kiwi Lane set of templates. So here is the paper palette that I am going to be playing with this month. So I've got this really fun summery paper, lots of great designs on that. And I just went and pulled out some of the other colors that really came up strong in this palette that I thought would be a lot of fun to play with. So Kiwi Lane is always pretty genius about how they put their kits together. Things coordinate really well without a lot of effort. So these all really complement well. And then if I want another pattern, this would be a great secondary pattern that also uses all of those same colors. So I am going to get busy doing some creating. There are some really fun templates this month. I have not made a decision what I'm going to use yet, so I will be getting busy and getting that together, and I will be back to show you what I come up with. Thanks again for joining me today. All right, so I got a basic layout figured out using these new templates that were part of this club kit. Oh my gosh, they are so darling. So let me just kind of walk you through what I've got so far. Down here at the bottom, I layered two of the different templates from the Coastal Highway set. So I've got 2A and 2B. So A is on this side, B is on this side, running across the bottom of the page. And then layered on top of that, I have Coastal Highway 1A and 1B. I am doing some pictures from a beach trip with some girlfriends. So I think that wave feel is going to be a lot of fun with this really summery, lovely paper. Up here in the corner, I've got the new a la carte Sunny. So it's just this big, beautiful sun. Lots of fun. I'm going to play a little bit with these sunglasses and probably in the center of this, do this summertime with good friends, something like that. I've got something in mind with these sunglasses, so we'll play with all of this. I'm just gonna set it here as a reminder. I've got the flip-flops here. I love that these are called flip and flop, but those two templates are what I had in mind for this little kind of space. Maybe overlapping down into the waves. We'll see how that comes together. I have one long photo. It's actually two photos here, but the way that they were taken, I think I'll be able to overlap them a bit and turn it into one kind of panoramic looking photo. And then up here I've got a 4x4, a 3x4, and a 4x4. And then I still have room here for a couple of 4x6s and then a 3x4 kind of tucked into the waves here. So I still have room for quite a lot of photos. This is going to be very full. I have a lot of pictures from this trip, so this is just going to be the initial layout, and then I'll have to go back and do another layout later. But I think this will be a lot of fun. For right now, what I've pulled out is the Glacier cardstock from Close to My Heart to be my background. And I'm thinking that this will work pretty well with that palette that I had pulled out. If you know me, you know I really hate to use this lovely paper as my background, so I'm hoping that I can just make it work on here, and I think that's going to be fine. So that's my plan. So I'm going to go ahead and start making some paper choices. I will also pop back on and kind of talk through what I'm going to do with this sunshine so you can see what my vision is there. But lots of fun and lots of good stuff to come. So thanks again for being here. This is going to be a good one. All right, let's talk a little bit through what I want to do with this sun. So the first thing is going to be just creating it out of this yellow paper. Okay, so I am going to go all the way around here and create all of the entire template out of one sheet. Okay, this is kind of going to be that background color. When it comes to creating these rays, there's a couple of choices. One is to cut the little pieces and put them on top of this space, and that is probably in some ways the easiest. And while I get that it's the easiest, I'm not sure that it's really what I want to do. I think I'm going to end up tracing these and just doing a cut with a straight knife and attaching some pieces to the back because I really like the idea of that dimensionality. So that's kind of what I have in mind for that part. Okay. When it comes to the remainder of it, this is what I want to do. I found out that this ring, rings 3, the inside of it fits really well inside this sun. Okay. It also is about the right size to go ahead and create a circle out of this sentiment card. So I'm going to trace this. Okay. And I'm going to go ahead and cut this circle out to place on the sun. Okay. Then I want to make these sunglasses to go on here too. It says Summertime with Good Friends. This was really designed so that you could do something like this. So I want to take advantage of that. It's super darling. Love that idea. And I have this great red paper that I think is going to look really fun for these sunglasses. Really nice bright pop. So I'm going to make these out of the red, and I'm just going to trace the outside edge on these. And then I want to show you what I want to do for the lenses. Okay, you can see that it's got these great little holes for the lenses. So one of the ideas that I saw showed a really fun view through these sunglasses where it looks like the reflection, like what somebody would be seeing in the sunglasses. So you could choose, do you want it to be this kind of beachy scene and some water? Do you want it to be the sun and the sky? So I am going to focus on this sand castle with a little bit of waves. And then I'm just going to go ahead and continue on with just some waves for the other lens. So I will be cutting those out and attaching them onto the sunglasses. So I will show you what that looks like as I get it cut out and pieced together, but I just wanted to give you a quick vision into what exactly I'm doing and how all those pieces are coming together. All right, I just had to show you how cute this ended up turning out. I haven't attached this part yet because I'm not sure exactly how I'll need to rotate the sun to make it fit best, but I did use the Sunny template, okay, and I just used a Sharpie to do these lines because I thought that was kind of a fun accent. And the X-Acto knife was a really fast way to cut these little spaces out. I inked them with this, which is just an eyeshadow applicator. It allows you to get in those smaller spaces a little bit better. And then the back looks hysterical right now, but I wanted to make sure that the little triangles for these little rays were pointing in the right direction. So I put some tape on the back and then just kind of placed this underneath each opening, trimmed it, and kept it stuck in place. And I just kind of went around the sun and did that all the way throughout. So it's a little time consuming, but really it's not bad. You can see there it's not perfect, but it works and it looks super cute from the front. And then the sun center with the sunglasses, I just elevated this on a little bit of foam tape, and you can see how I cut those waves out to reflect in those lenses. So super cute. I'm really excited about this fun embellishment. It is possible that part of this sun is going to pop off of the page, and I'll need to trim a couple rays, but that's okay. It's going to be fine. So anyway, I hope that gave you some ideas. I'm going to move on to the next steps. So before I put everything together, I wanted to walk you through a couple of the decisions that I made along the way working with this layout. First of all, I decided that I wanted to go ahead and use this paper with all of the fun summer words on it, rather than the one that has the multicolored like pinwheels on it. I needed something that would layer well with that beach themed paper, and this one had enough personality and fun to go with that without overpowering it. So with a paper like this that is very directional, obviously it's got words and you don't want those words to end up upside down on your layout. You've got to be careful about how you cut your borders. You don't get to do what you would traditionally do and just match them to really save paper, right? Because then when you flip over the other piece, if they're both running along the bottom like mine are, the words would be upside down. So I made a couple of decisions along the way. The first one was more of a paper saving decision. So let me show you how these two pieces layer, first of all. Okay. So this is what's going to be the front of the layer, and then here's the back, right? So first of all, you can see how much of that background paper is going to be covered up. Okay, can you see that? So when I went to trace this, I had the other template layered on top so that I could look straight through and figure out how much of it I really didn't need. Okay, so I had this one here, just like it's going to be on my layout, and I looked for the low point. Okay, and I gave myself a little bit of grace. So doing that, I was able to adjust, mark where I wanted that to be, and go ahead and just trace the top. Okay, so that gave me that one piece. And when I go to glue those together or tape them together, I will use these templates to help me kind of measure that out. But I didn't have to make it as big as the template. Let me pull this down just a little bit so you can see. Sorry about that. So I didn't have to make it as big as the template because a big chunk of it's going to be covered up anyway. Okay. Then I had to make the decision about how I wanted to do the top, or how I wanted to cut the other piece. I could have done it, just made a straight cut here, and then gone up to the next chunk, absolutely. But what I ended up doing was a very similar thing, right? I went ahead and layered what's going to be the upper piece so I can get an idea. And I went to the top of my paper. So let me scooch this and I'll show you up here. Went to the top of my paper and figured out, well, let's see. I want to leave enough so that I have some extra for, enough for a future layout that's going to be a reasonable sized piece. And I'm only going to need enough to come down to this point behind here. That's probably my low point, that or here. So then I find my low spot and I mark it so that I can just do a straight cut. Okay, so what I ended up with, pull this back, I ended up with this piece that's going to be one of my usable borders, and this piece. Okay, so those are going to layer with that other fun summer paper. My scraps then are this and then this chunk. Now when I'm ready to use this, I can partner it up. If I want to use it on across the top of a page, I can partner it up, figure out where my straight cut is, and just go across. Okay, that way I get the most out of those scraps. I hope that makes sense. I did something very similar with the blue paper with all of the fun summer icons on it because it also is very directional. It can't be flipped upside down. It's going to look weird. So I took a piece from the bottom and then I took a piece near the top so that I'd have some appropriate leftovers. So let me lay things back out again and I'll show you how it all layered up and comes together. All right, so we're back to the basic layout and I'll show you how these pieces all layer in. So here's those border pieces. Remember, these are a little short on purpose. That's why I use all that paper. And the piece that goes on top of them layers right here. So they are both busy, but I think the lightness of this one works and it just creates really a fun border for the page. Okay. The next piece that I'm going to pull in is all of the photos. So these are actually pictures from a girls' trip that I took to the coast, and we did some scrapbooking and just kind of had a fun few days messing around and enjoying each other's company and being silly. So this one is going to kind of tuck under here. There we go. Something like that. And this one's going to tuck behind the front layer and then over the back layer. So it just kind of sandwiches in there. This was actually two photos. We ended up taking, it must have been like a panoramic shot, but when I went to order it, I couldn't get it to order that way. So I went into the photo just to edit and I panned it all the way to the left and edited that as a 4x6. And then I panned all the way to the right and ordered that as a 4x6. And I was able to layer them on top of each other. So there is a seam right here, but it's really hard to see. And I was able to do it kind of as one continuous photo. So that worked out. That's, my plan is for it to be here and then potentially layered just a tiny bit. There we go. So you can still see all of us, but then we're allowing that border to be on top this time. We've got this 4x4. One of our friends fell asleep out in the sun and we just couldn't bear to let it be, right? We had to terrorize her, poor thing. So took lots of photos with her, but then we did give her an umbrella and let her rest. So she didn't know anything about it until she saw the pictures later. And then another 4x4 there. Okay. You've seen the sun, but I did get it all layered up and get the sentiment put on. This is just super cute all by itself. It's gonna be here, and I tried to position it so that it would come over onto the photos in a couple of spots without taking over too much. And then what I'll end up doing is, I'll play with this a little bit before I put it down, but I will end up having to clip a couple of these tips off. So it's not completely on that page, but I think that's going to be fine. So what a fun design and just pop of color on the side. And then I had my flipper floppers. So I just did these with the red pattern paper, and I traced the little stitch that's on the template. I just traced that with a dark brown Sharpie so it would match my inking. Okay, you can see all those little lines. I just drew them on with that. And then I cut the little fabric piece or plastic piece of the flip-flops out of a contrasting color. So I just used that to trace and cut it out. And then I put some little tiny foam dots in the back. And when I went to place it, I literally laid the template on top and then placed it following that design in the template, which works out beautifully. So you get it right in a good logical spot. So super cute. Love those flip-flops. And they're going to be just a fun accent and fill that space. And I'm thinking something kind of like that. Okay. So that is how this came together. Still really heavily features the photos, which I love. So I've got 1, 2, 3, this is really 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 pictures on here, but I'm still able to pull in a lot of fun designs with the paper. So I hope this gets you creating and having some fun with your kit. If you are not a club member yet, you can find a link to check those out in my description box. And don't forget to go visit the other videos and leave a comment. So thanks again for joining me today. I hope that you are doing well, and I will see you again soon. Bye-bye.